Claire Kate Zant.
And I'm Elizabeth Stevens.
And welcome to Disney Villain Deathmatch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we're on our last one that we do just by ourselves.
Oh, man, we sure are.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that Maleficent was held off to the end.
Yes.
She's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I really like her.
No, she's very, very good. So today we're doing Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty versus Hans from Frozen. And, like, Hans is going down.
Any guesses,
It's
y'all?
not even a competition. It's kind of a total joke. But I mean, you know, for I don't know, clarity's sake, I guess we'll go ahead and like do the thing or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about him. We'll mock him and make fun of him.
Yes,
and talk
we
about
will.
what a Nancy Pants he is.
Yeah,
but
he
sure.
is quite a Nancy Pants and a wanker. A
Not
Nancy
so
Pants
good.
wanker.
Gross.
He's kind of the worst.
Actually, watching Sleeping Beauty today made me really miss Disney Princess Deathmatch. Man,
Yeah?
that was a fun show. It was
It
so
really
different
was.
because it was so involved.
Mhm.
But all the animation on this show is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And when I remembered watching the behind the scenes footage and stuff
Mm-hmm.
and getting all of those details on how many people it took to draw it and how long it took and all of the different inspiration behind it, man, I'll have to go back and listen to that episode or watch the behind the scenes footage again, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know,
whichever
'cause
one
it
you
was
want to do.
Fascinating.
Yes. I hadn't watched Frozen in a while, but I watched it today, obviously, for
Right.
recording the show, and was just
And
reminded
also
of
like a million times
prior to
period.
that.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, like, whenever the film came out on Blu-ray, I think that I watched it every single day for a week because I kept taking the Blu-ray with me everywhere and forcing my friends to sit down and watch this movie with me.
I was one of those friends.
Yes.
Yep. Because I had kids. So it's like,
most of my friends have kids, so it worked
I
out.
brought it for the kids.
I
Sure
was
you
a
did.
great babysitter for a little while there.
Uh-huh.
But no, I really genuinely love this movie so much. It was filling me with a lot of emotions. I teared up a couple of times. I laughed a lot, like just
Yeah.
sitting there in my living room by myself, like just giggling, just being like, gosh, this movie is just really, really good and so funny, and I really enjoy it.
I was surprised that Sleeping Beauty held Uriah's attention. He's just 2 years old. He'll be 3 in December. So a lot of times, if it's not like a little 30-minute show, it just won't hold his interest. And he watches a lot of Power Rangers.
Right.
He watches a lot of like Dino Dana and Paw Patrol.
Oh, I
and
know
all
about
these
Dino
things.
Dana.
Dino Dana's actually pretty
Yeah,
legit.
she's pretty great.
She's pretty cool. But anyway, it really surprised me because I told him, listen, you want to watch a princess movie with mommy? He was like, yeah, princess. And came and sat down next to me. And I thought, 10 minutes later, he's going to say he doesn't want this, which is true. He did
Yes.
say a couple of times, watch something else. But he did watch the whole thing and was very impressed with Maleficent, who every time she came on screen, again, he would yell, bad guy. So
Nothing gets past that kid.
nothing gets past him.
Yeah, he's a smart little guy. Okay, well, let's talk about our villains. Let's do first impressions. I guess I'll go ahead and talk about Hans first, because that's not going to take as long.
Yeah, and the Hans first impression is really surprising and different.
It
So
is,
that's kind of
actually,
unique and
yes. When we
interesting.
first meet Hans, it's right after Anna's song, for the first time in forever. God, I used to know all of these songs. Like, I used to know literally everything about this movie, like, better than I knew, like, my own social security number, but it's been a while now, and I have moved on to other things, I suppose.
I was just remembering her little dress is so darling.
She is so darling. She
Yeah.
is just, I mean, I know that we saw Moana and that Moana was my favorite Disney princess, but I think that Anna might actually be my favorite because she's the one that I connect with maybe the most. Disney basically
Fair.
put me into a movie, which was pretty cool, and I was into that. But so Hans shows up, and he is just the sweetest, most polite, charming, handsome. What a great guy! I can't
Slightly
wait
bumbling.
for slightly bumbling, a little goofy, just very. Like, I was super stoked whenever Hans got on screen. I was like, okay, yeah, no, this seems like a really legit, like, Disney prince. I'm super excited to, like, see this relationship unfold. It's going to be totally awesome. I'm really into it. So no malice whatsoever until about an hour and a half into the movie.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
you didn't see it coming at all, right?
No, I did not. And I think we talked about this on our Frozen
Yeah, I
episode
think
of
we
Disney
did.
Princess Deathmatch, where other people were, like, you even said, oh, he's got 12 brothers. Yeah,
I was
okay,
like,
this guy's a
13th
bad
in
guy.
line.
Yeah,
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And me, I'm just
Red
like,
flag.
what a sweet, soft boy. And then, oh, Anna, if only there was someone out there who loved you. I inhaled so deeply that I choked and I was so betrayed. How dare you, Disney? How dare you hurt me in this way?
You are Anna.
I am, basically. Yeah, God, if only someone out there loved me. My husband does, it's fine. It's okay, I'm good. I've got my true love's kiss. It's totally great.
All right.
First impressions of Hans. He seems like a pretty cool dude.
Seems real sweet.
Yes.
Real sweetheart. Okay. Maleficent, she blows in like a storm in that party, actually. The palace doors blow open. All of the banners start flapping. And then there's like this green, flamey, smoky, very mystical, magical something or other. And she just kind of like appears in the center of it.
Not apparates.
That's very Harry Potter. I was like, that word's made up, right? For Harry Potter, I'm not sure. Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Apparition is a thing. Anyway, she appears. She appears in a ball of green, flamey whateverness.
Huh.
And she is amazing. She
Yeah.
is so iconic. Her costuming is fantastic. I love everything about it. When she first lifts her arms up and you see that her dress is almost like wings, she's got this crazy bird-like thing going on, and she's very sharply angular but beautiful in a way. Her horns are fantastic. She's got this great scepter. She's got a raven on her shoulder, which is pretty BA. She was awesome. And it's interesting because she looked evil, but her first lines and stuff seemed pretty she was being overly polite on purpose, and she's like faking the whole thing or whatever.
Sure.
But she was just fascinating to watch come to life.
Well, that's great. So let's move on to their motivations. Why are our villains doing what it is they're doing? So as we just mentioned, Hans is the 13th son in the Southern Isles. He has 12 older brothers.
The Southern Isles.
His best friend's name is probably John. His eye color is dreamy. Foot size doesn't matter. Favorite food is sandwiches. Anyway, I know everything I need to know about this man in order to marry him. So yeah, Hans is basically going to be a prince like forever unless he marries into a different kingdom, which is why he chose
being a prince is all right.
I feel like that too. Like it always reminds me of which one of the Narnia books is it? I think it's A Horse and His Boy, where it turns out that the main protagonist was maybe going to be it was either that or the Silver Chair. I forget. Anyway, there's these twin boys. One of them is going to be the king and the other one is going to be the prince. And obviously the older twin will be the king. And the prince is like, no, that's great. I like being a prince is the best. Like you get to like run around doing whatever you want. Like I'd much rather be a prince than a king. But Hans doesn't feel that way.
Okay.
So his entire motivation is that he wants power. He wants a kingdom that he can call his own. We hear the lines during Love is an Open Door where he repeats the phrase, like, finding my own place. Like, that's what he's been focusing on. Anna is absolutely, like, smitten by this guy and, like, talking about his face and how pretty he is. And he's just like, look at this great land. It will be my land. And so, yeah, his entire motivation is that he's 13th in the line and will never ascend the throne. And so he's got to find another throne to ascend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I almost called her Medusa. Maleficent. Medusa's also cool. Maleficent, actually, everything starts when she is just jealous of not being invited to this party. So she's super petty. Like a really petty woman, very vindictive. So she curses the princess with death because she wasn't invited to her christening, to her party.
That's...
So there was no threat to her. Aurora had no threat to Maleficent whatsoever.
No, it's an infant child.
It was just kind of an FU to King Stefan and Queen...
What's her name?
The Queen.
The Queen. The Queen.
But yeah, that was her entire motivation. She was just pissed and getting revenge for not being invited to her birthday party.
And so sentenced an infant to death.
Yes, once she turned 16. So first, she was going to make the parents love her for 16 years, and get super attached.
Yeah.
And then right when it's time for your young child to become an adult, then kill her dead.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Pretty intense.
That's pretty extreme.
Pretty bad.
Hans is not going to win, you guys. So next, let's talk about their lairs. I have nothing to talk about because we never see like Hans's home or his kingdom or anything. He's just hanging out in Arendelle the whole time. So I literally have nothing. I could talk about Elsa's ice palace, but that's not what we're doing here.
Nope.
So
wow.
I got nothing.
That's true. Well, man, Maleficent's castle is amazing. It's all crumbling and looking super derelict and, like it should be condemned or something. It's got gargoyles everywhere. It's all sketched in with really fine detail. It's got, like, claws where, like built in as part of the architecture, basically. Sure. Tons of gargoyles, all sorts of chains and ropes and, like the portcullis.
The gate?
Gate.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Portcullis is a gate.
Yes. Right? Yeah. Okay, good. I did it. Yeah. I can write fantasy. Anyway. I actually knew that because The Princess Bride.
Oh, well, there you go.
Anyhow, and she's got all of her little demon people that are there and fires everywhere. All the fire is green. There's this eerie green light everywhere.
Where did she get this castle, do you think?
I don't know. Huh. I mean, I think she's... That's a good question. I don't know because
She's
it's
technically
massive.
a fairy, right?
I
Like,
think so.
okay.
Yeah, I think that's how the lore goes.
We're not making that up, are we? I forget.
I don't know. That's definitely in the movie Maleficent.
But we're not talking about
But we're
that.
not talking
We may
about
need to
that.
talk about the live action Disney films at some point.
Maybe, perhaps.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Patreon.com/Common Room Radio. So a big scary castle, huh?
Big Scary Castle. It's awesome. It's eerie. It's creepy. I like it.
Yeah, very good. Next, we're talking about Minions. Hans doesn't have any of those either.
Oh, no.
The closest we
Guy's
get
going
is
down.
yeah, no, absolutely. The closest we get is him working with the Duke of Wesselton's two nameless, speechless bodyguards.
Oh, yeah.
But otherwise, Hans has no. Hans is just like doing his own thing on his own, just striking out on his own to take over a kingdom
Wow.
via marriage.
Maleficent has got all kinds of little demon guys. I think they're even are they actually called demons? I know I watched it today and you didn't, but I think that they're not. I mean, they're like little gremlin demon guys. That's all they are. When she does talk about, how she has all the forces of hell behind her. So
Oh, does she really say that?
she does.
Oh,
Now
that's
you shall
cool.
deal with me, O prince, and all the powers of hell. I'm like,
Whoa.
whoa.
You know it's
okay.
serious whenever a Disney movie swears.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally true. So she's got tons of these guys.
Are
They're
they
everywhere.
good? Are they any good at their jobs?
They're all real dumb. So whenever she puts them in charge of like finding Aurora, they're looking for an infant for 16 years. It doesn't occur to them that she's going to grow up. So they keep on searching cradles.
Wait, is that true? Is that like in fiction? Like
Yes.
that line is stated? That is amazing. Oh my god.
Yes, no. They come in and they say we searched every cradle, and she's like a cradle. So
That's fantastic. I had completely forgotten about that incidental
great.
detail, but how beautiful.
so they're super dumb.
Yeah.
They can't think on their own. But
But she has them and Hans doesn't, so.
that is true, and there's tons of them. There really are tons of them, and they guard the castle pretty well. I guess the fairies get in, but and then
Along
she's
with Prince
got.
Philip, right?
But what
So-
she does have for her minion is that the raven or the crow or whatever it is that's on her shoulder, which is actually very devious and skilled and
Yeah.
gets the job done. So and is the one that actually finds Aurora.
Oh, well, there you
And
go.
gets turned to stone in the end, which is pretty cool.
I don't remember that. I
Yep.
know that. Okay, I watched this movie. I had
Yeah.
to watch it for. Well, you know what? We went in chronological order with those Disney movies. So this was what, the second one we watched. The third. It would have been the third one,
Third,
right?
right after- yeah, I think the
Okay. So
third
this
one.
was like well over a year ago. The last time I saw that movie.
Yeah, Merryweather puts a spell on him and turns him to stone like a gargoyle. On
That's
the castle.
cool. Nice. Okay, next we have means to their end. What is it that they do in order to accomplish their goal? So Hans, well, he doesn't accomplish his goal, but what he attempts to do initially, so he shows up and his plan is to marry Elsa because Elsa is about to be crowned queen of Arendelle because she's come of age. And so when he gets there and sees that is not going to happen, Elsa is basically a shut-in, has been a shut-in for like the last 16 years or whatever. He turns his eyes over to Anna, who is naive and desperate for love and affection. And so he decides that he's going to marry her, and then that he will have to, I think the phrase he uses is stage an accident to get rid of Elsa.
Whoa.
But Elsa ran off and so kind of took care of that on
Yeah,
her own.
yeah.
So if Elsa's not there to be queen, then Anna's going to become queen. He'll marry Anna, become king, and then kill off Anna. So the means to his end were just murder, just plain
Right,
old
but he
regular
didn't
murder.
actually
he didn't
commit
actually
murder.
commit murder.
He was just willing to, in theory.
He was willing to commit murder.
and he would have let Anna freeze to death, presumably.
I think so. Yes. Because I was thinking about this even because it, he left Anna in the room whenever she comes back after Elsa has frozen her heart,
Right.
And leaves her in the room and like puts out the fire and all this other stuff and is
Right.
like waiting for her just to freeze to death. And then when he encounters Elsa on the frozen fjord, he actually does pull out a sword and is literally like
that's
about to like
right. He's-
strike Elsa down
yeah.
from behind. But then Anna runs over and saves her life and it's an act of
Okay.
true love and everything's great. But yeah, so he
so
was
he
just
was murderous,
murderous,
but not a murderer.
but not a murderer.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair. All right. All right. So of course, at first, there's the big curse that Maleficent throws out there.
Yes.
Then she is foiled by the fairies who take the princess and hide her away in the woods. And that does work. She can't find the princess for all those 16 years. Eventually she does, at which point she apparates in the castle again in a fireplace and leads Aurora to a spinning wheel, which again is supposed to be to her death, but it's not actually to
Yes.
her death because Merryweather has turned the curse into just sleeping until until love's first kiss or her true love's first kiss. She is then laughing over the body of the dead girl, which was pretty unsettling, I felt.
Sure.
She then she hears about this, so I guess she must have known that the curse got changed, because she hears that that Princess Aurora has fallen in love with some peasant boy in the woods.
Yeah.
So she wants to go make sure that she offs that guy
Sure,
to
yeah.
keep the love's first kiss from getting to her, right?
You can't fall in love with a person if you're in a coma.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're in a coma, she's dead. Yeah, or he's dead. Yeah, that's fine.
And we're
Everybody's
good,
gonna
we're
win.
set.
Everybody's good. So, and of course, it ends up being the prince.
Sure.
So when she gets the prince, she takes him to her dungeon where she just torments him. About how you're going to wait here forever, and then I'll actually... It's just like the 16-year-old thing, you know, where it's like, I'll let you love your daughter for 16 years, but I'll take it from you. It's like, I'll let you sit here and rot and think about how much you love this girl for 100 years, and then I'll let you leave all gray and old and sad. You can go ahead and kiss her and wake her up so she can watch you die, basically, and not be together.
Cow!
It's really bad. Yeah, she's
Jeez Louise!
awful. She's awful.
I had no idea.
She then, let's see, because he starts to get out with the help of the fairies, right? And again, the fairies do everything. Prince Philip does
Yes, we
basically
talked about
nothing.
this.
He could have been like a 12-year-old and it still would have ended the same, because the fairies did all the work. But that's okay. But Maleficent, she really pulls out all the stops. She starts by throwing lightning at him, and then she sends this massive curse around King Stephen's castle, and it comes out like this black cloud and swirls around the castle, and then all those thorns grow up all the way around it, which is a pretty cool piece of magic, actually, I thought.
As far as magic goes.
As far as magic goes, yes. Yeah, and then when she has that great line, "Now you shall deal with me, O prince, and all the powers of hell," she turns into a dragon.
That's pretty
Straight
great.
up turns into a dragon.
That was a huge misstep for the live action movie, by the way, because Angelina Jolie turned her crow guy into the dragon, and it was like, why did you do this? Why did you not just have her turn into the... But we were doing this whole thing where she was like the tragic hero or whatever, and that movie's not very good.
No, it's not.
No, it's really not. It's
anyway,
fine.
Yeah, fine. So, yeah, so she is willing to turn into a dragon and just burn everybody to a crisp. And
just like emotionally, psychologically tortured tons of folks.
Yeah.
All because she wasn't invited to a party. Wow. We should have included like a pettiness factor for some of these villains.
We should have, I feel like, actually.
Yeah, no. I think we'll have to bring that in as like the second round.
That's really good. I
yeah,
like that.
Yeah. Whenever we're like doing our interviews and stuff and talking with some other folks and guests on the show, we'll have to be like, okay, so which was the pettier villain? I don't know if petty makes better, but it does make for a more interesting villain.
It does,
maybe.
and more hateable.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so next we have how they bid it. Well, Hans doesn't die. Anna does punch him in the face and knock him off of a boat into the fjord, which is pretty cool. Like, girl
Hans,
power.
You were going down, son.
But he doesn't die. He does end up shoveling manure back in the Southern Isles.
Well, in that case, he met his bitter end.
He did. Quite.
Maleficent, in dragon form, has a sword thrown through her heart. She then crashes from a cliff into the earth, smolders into a black scorch mark in the ground.
Wow.
It was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore.
I think that's like the villainous way to go.
Yes.
My opinion.
So, here's the situation. This episode already was going to be a little short because Hans just did not fit a bunch of these categories.
Hans has got nothing. I mean,
yeah, well, they were doing this.
What's your last ditch thing for? I mean, go ahead and fight the good fight for Hans, the bad fight. Fight the villain fight for Hans.
Fight the bad fight for Hans. I mean, I think that it would be the lying and the manipulation, because it really is straight. I mean, the movie works really hard through its first 2/3, showing us that Hans is this stand-up guy. He's an excellent prince. He's not like one of those grabby princes from like the 50s.
Oh yeah, like Prince Philip.
Yeah, like Prince Philip. Yeah, but is just like legitimately concerned about Elsa, legitimately like cares for Anna and all of this stuff, and just like builds him up. Is like this really great guy, and then
that's true. That's
they just sort of like
behavior.
Yeah, and it's just that he doesn't have the layer, he doesn't have the villains. He's not a traditional villain throughout most of the film. I was thinking about this because it seems like initially our villain is going to be the Duke of Wesselton, voiced by Alan Tudyk.
Right, he has
fan
that
favorite
kind
of the
look.
show. Yeah,
yes, of course.
But, he's the one talking about, oh, I'll take all of Arendelle's riches and sell them for my own profit. Oh, no, did I say that out loud? All this stuff. He calls Elsa a monster. He sends his guys after them and all this stuff. But, the whole time, literally up until that turn, Hans is just, a super cool dude. And, a really nice dude.
So I feel like in real life, Hans is a real life actual villain.
Yeah, I think that he falls more in line with Mother Gothel is the thing.
Well, even she had magical powers though. At least Hans doesn't have anything like that at all.
That's true. No,
he's almost just. I mean, he's an antagonist.
Yes,
but he's really not a villain.
Yes, and I think that's where. Yeah, I think that's where we end up with him. So he is an antagonist, not really a villain. The closest thing that we get is that he absolutely breaks Anna's heart, leaves her to die.
I mean, that sounds pretty bad.
That's pretty bad when you put it that way, yeah. And then goes to kill her sister, who she, cares about and loves, and also is just a woman in her own right, and so how dare you. All to take over a little kingdom. And everybody trusts this dude. I don't know what it is about Arendelle. They're all very naive, but Anna just hops on her horses and is like, I leave Prince Hans in charge. And it's he's been here for 3 hours. This party started when the sun went down, and then Elsa had ice magic, and now we're all very concerned, and we don't know this guy from Adam, but whatevs.
Wow. Yeah.
This is what happens when you're a Disney princess and you don't grow up with parents, and your sister you can't marry a man you just met. Yeah. And your sister doesn't give you attention. But so we're at the point of the show where we're supposed to present a scenario where we have Maleficent v. Hans. But
okay.
So there's a princess that Hans wants to marry to get a kingdom, and Maleficent wants to kill because she wasn't invited to the party.
Excellent.
And who's going to achieve this goal first?
Okay.
To be fair, neither of them achieve their goal technically.
Most of the time, the villains don't, though.
That's also true. Yes.
Yeah, most of the time, that's why the good
Maleficent does legit have actual magic and turns into a dragon, and Hans has smarm. That's it.
That is true. Yeah. And he's not. We haven't seen him possessed of any skill set.
The only skill set that I can tell that he's got that I can attribute to Hans and give him some bonus points here is that he is a very quick thinker, because we can kind of see a lot of times in his facial expressions he is a really sort of working to twist events around to work best for him. Whenever he first gets to the party and he realizes, okay, Elsa is a no-go, but here's the younger sister, here's the other princess, okay, I'm gonna mac on her and get that all sorted, and then decides that he's gonna marry Anna, and then Elsa gets upset and uses her ice magic there in the ballroom, and then Hans sees that and is like, oh geez, I gotta change my plan. Okay, so we gotta adjust to this now, we gotta deal with this. I'm still gonna play I'm on Anna's side. And then whenever he and the bodyguards are fighting against Elsa in her ice palace, one of the guys has a crossbow and is pointing it right at Elsa.
That's right.
And almost shoots her, but then Hans runs over and knocks the guy's crossbow up to make himself still seem like the hero.
Exactly.
So he's
even though he knows it's going to send the
really
chandelier
cunning.
Down. He is very cunning.
He's very cunning is basically his only attribute. I think that he may be one of the smartest villains that we've got. But
and this is so interesting because no one else in Sleeping Beauty was cunning or smart in that way. I mean, even the fairies, although they technically saved the day, are
kind of dumb, right?
Pretty dumb. I mean, they're real cute, but they're
just doing their best.
Fold in. What's the eggs? 2 eggs. Fold in gently. Yeah, real cute, real cute. She cuts the hole in the bottom of the fabric. That's for feet to go through. I'm like, oh, honey.
Oh,
anyway,
dear.
It's darling, very cute. But no, everybody's dumb, basically.
Yes.
The 2 kings get in that fight with the fish, remember?
Vaguely.
Everyone is dumb.
Everyone is very dumb. Because it was a movie made for 6-year-olds.
Maleficent has ever actually been in, a battle of wits.
Yeah, has she ever, obviously she's outsmarting everyone, but I mean, has she ever been up against somebody who was as intelligent as she is? So maybe it's possible.
Is there a scenario in which Hans can beat Maleficent? That's really the question.
Well, okay, so, all right, here's the situation. Maleficent doesn't care about, the kingdom necessarily, or the lineage or anything like that, right? She just wants to kill this princess for not getting invited to the party, right?
Right.
Hans also wants to kill this princess because he wants to become king.
Oh my God, you're right.
They would work together? This is unorthodox.
Okay.
He would just be like, let me have her long enough to marry her. I don't care. You can kill her right after that. That's fine. That even works out better for me because then I don't have to kill her. So this is I like this. I'm sticking with this. I think this is great. So they work together to kill the princess.
But then who wins? Who's
well,
the ultimate
Maleficent wins, obviously.
Yeah, like
But
all of
no,
this
we
is
knew
silly.
that going
This is
in. There
just
was
silly.
yeah.
Maleficent has to win. There's
Yeah.
no scenario in which Maleficent does
No,
not
absolutely,
take
yeah.
home the Disney villain.
Yes, I'm just saying that in
I
our
wouldn't
final
be surprised if
category,
she takes the whole thing. She's a great
I don't know,
villain, and
because
she's so iconic.
I think Ursula is going to be our winner. I really, really do.
Ursula versus Maleficent. Oh my god!
I hope that is what happens, but we will see.
That would be
so,
real good. That would be
here
real
in round
good.
8.
Oh man!
Yeah, no, that would be very, very good. Yeah,
That
it'd
would
be a
an
great,
excellent drag show.
It
Sorry.
would,
Right?
No, you're totally right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Maleficent beats out Hans by a country mile, even though yes, they would work together to kill the princess, but like whatever, it's neither here nor there. So the next time that we deal with Maleficent, she's going to be up against Frollo, and we've already talked about before how
Maleficent
we're
and Frollo,
basically like
Jiminy
throwing down
Cricket.
like an executive decision, and we don't want Frollo to continue because it's not fun. But Elizabeth, this is the last round where it's just you and me.
That's right.
Yes,
we got to figure out who we're bringing on to all these things. I know
Yeah.
we've got a handful of people. We got to set everybody up.
We sure do. Yeah, we're gonna get that figured out. So this is round 8. Our next round is going to be round 9, where we have Ursula versus Cruella de Vil.
That's going to be really fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right.
Yes, and we will start having guests on the show. And yeah, from this point forward, we're just going to, I mean, we are eventually going to figure out who is the very best Disney villain out of them all. Let's see, some other stuff that we're going to be dealing with pretty soon. I just want to like go through this list really quick in case anybody doesn't have it immediately up in front of them. But we'll do Ursula versus Cruella de Vil. Then we're going to do Jafar versus Syndrome. Then we're going to do Scar versus Captain Hook. And then Frollo versus Maleficent.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to get buck wild here really soon. And I'm very, very excited. So, yeah, that's basically the whole show. I know that this one was just a little bit shorter, but again, Hans just doesn't have a lot going for him because the movie lies to us,
that's
basically.
Right. Yeah.
Just kind of pulls the rug out from under us. If you enjoyed this show, if you like what we're doing, if you want to support us, this show wouldn't exist without the support of our listeners. You can head on over to patreon.com/commonroomradio, where you can kick us $1 a month or whatever you can afford, and that'll help us make more shows like this and more shows in the future. There are more shows coming up. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. If you want to join in on the conversation, you can use the hashtag DVDM over on Twitter. You can get in touch with us on Twitter. We are at Common Room Cast. You can find me at Sarah Kate Bazant.
I'm at Lisbeth Ray 555.
And I think that's basically going to do it for us this week.
That takes care of us.
Yes.
Yeah, for a couple more weeks until we're ready to really get, feet to the fire here.
Right. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have to figure out quite how we do this. I think we're going to make our guests watch both movies. Probably. We'll have to make that happen. But yeah, so I'm really excited. So in 2 weeks, we are going to be doing, like we said, Ursula versus Cruella de Vil. And that's going to, oh man. See, okay, all Ursula has to do is grab Cruella de Vil and drag her into the ocean and then she wins, right? But I mean, I don't think that's quite how this works. We're not like actually in like a gladiator situation here, so we'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm really excited. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you in a few weeks. Once again, from Common Room Radio, I'm Sarah K. Bazant.
And I'm Elizabeth Stevens.